now, right 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 now. Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been getting. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your weekly morning show where we bring you the latest and everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about a massive drop that could be coming to Bitcoin soon. Guys, over the weekend, Bitcoin hasn't done much except fall, and the sentiment has done the exact same. Over the last 6 months, people have been very concerned that we are entering into a new bear market, and as we continue to trade sideways, those fears grow. Over the last 2 weeks, we have built a head and shoulders pattern that gives us a price target down towards about $54,000 and begs the question, are we about to see a major correction on the biggest Bitcoin bull market that we have ever seen? That's what we're going to be discussing today, and we're also going to be talking about what we should be doing in response to this, how we should be diversifying our positions, how we should be preparing to acquire more Bitcoin, and most importantly, how we can be working ever more towards the wonderful goal of being financially sovereign over our wealth. You see, it's not about the result. It's not about the goal. Something that people get wrong is that it's not about chasing the goal. And the reason for that is kind of similar to if you're building a factory. Building a factory is not about the car. Building a car is not about building a car. It's about building a factory that builds the car, right? Let's say you want to build a car. Let's say you want to build a Toyota Camry. Toyota Motor Manufacturing does not pride itself in necessarily building a car. They pride themselves in building a factory that produces one of the safest, most popular vehicles in the history of mankind. The effort, the primary work, while yes, it goes into the car, it actually primarily goes into the operating system. They use Kaizen, they use Hoshinkanri, they use many different forms of operations and quality control, and they've got and-on corns, all kinds of stuff in a Toyota manufacturing plant. And the point I want to make to you today is that succeeding financially is not about succeeding financially. Succeeding financially is about succeeding consistently. It's about building a system and being reliable. It's about showing up and doing the work every day. It's about saying to yourself, this is what I committed to, and come hell or high water, you can take what I said I'm going to do down to the bank and you can cash it like a check because I said it's going to happen, and by God, it's going to happen. I'm going to die before I stop. That's why I told myself when I started this YouTube channel, I am going to build $1 billion company and help people with it. I'm going to build a massive company by helping people, and then with the empire that I'm going to create, I'm going to use it to help people. Help and help out is what I call it. I'm going to make a big amount of power by helping people, and I'm going to use that responsibility to help as many people as I can with the limited time I have here on Earth. That's what I'm going to dedicate my entire life towards. And over the last 5, 6, 7 years, I've found out kind of how exactly I'm going to do that through teaching about financial sovereignty and investment and budgeting and, money management and wisdom and life advice and all of that. And I pretty much from day one have had a mentality of, you can kill me, but I ain't going to stop. Same thing with the Lord. I will never stop preaching about the Lord. I will never stop telling you about Jesus Christ. You can put a gun to my head. I don't care. I'm not going to stop. Now, I might leave it for another day. It might not be the time to talk about it, but I won't ever stop. You can't ever stop me. And so my challenge to you, as we are about to get into the cryptocurrency, my challenge to you today is that when you set out wanting to succeed in cryptocurrency, it is not about succeeding in cryptocurrency. It is about the habits that you build that allow you to succeed in cryptocurrency. It is about the character traits that you build that will lead to wealth untold in crypto. It's not about building wealth in crypto. It's about building you into somebody who can grow your wealth in crypto. On that note, let's get started. Bitcoin is currently trading at $58,169. It is up 0.23% over the last 24 hours, but over the last 7 days, it is down 9%. We're moving into a great degree of bearish territory here. We have shed a couple $100 billion off of the total market capitalization over the last few weeks. You can see here, we had back on August the 25th, on Sunday, we had been sitting at $230 billion. We've currently dropped about $234 billion down to roughly $2 trillion right now. And that is kind of the level of support that we're riding here on the total market capitalization chart, is the $2 trillion mark. The $2 trillion mark is a quite important one, as it does represent a big even. And even at the time of recording this video, all of crypto is sitting at 1.999 trillion. So we're right there at the $2 trillion mark. This is a point that Bitcoin is going to have to hold. If Bitcoin cannot hold this, then we're probably going to fall quite a bit further, which is what we're going to be mainly discussing today. The one shining light here is that we do have this falling wedge that Bitcoin could break bullish out of. About 70% of the times in technical analysis theory, you're going to have a market that's in a falling wedge that looks like this. About 70% of the time, the market is going to break bullish out of it. That is the likelihood, but there are obviously quite a few other factors that go into play here rather than just the technicals. One of them is that on the hourly chart for Bitcoin, we are currently witnessing a head and shoulders pattern being formed. We have the head here where we attempted a breakout last Monday. Last Monday, we discussed how Bitcoin had the opportunity to break very bullish, but it would need to get above about $68,000 before we could say anything for sure. On Tuesday, that looked like it wasn't working, so I called an $8,000 drop where we would drop down to as low as $54,000, to which I was responded with, "That's clickbait. What are you talking about, Jeb?" About 3 hours later, Bitcoin dropped $4,000 of the $8,000 that we predicted. And while we have not dropped all the way down to $54,000 yet, we have definitely been in an overall downtrend since then, dropping down to $57,000. I do still believe that we're going to go lower, and the head and shoulders pattern is a part of that, because when we witness our head and shoulders pattern being formed here, we've got to draw a shoulder line. That shoulder line would go approximately here. We've got to draw our price target, which is drawn from the top of the head and shoulders pattern here down to the neckline. We then extrapolate thusly, just like this, from the breakout point. That would point down towards $50,000, which is, of course, the level that we drop down towards on the 5th of August. And so it stands to reason that Bitcoin may be on track for a double bottom down there, which in the grand scheme of things would actually probably be a good thing. It probably would be a good thing. It would give us a chance for Bitcoin to get its feet back under it and start moving back to the upside. But it definitely could spell bearishness in the short term. And that's something I want you to understand. The next few months may be characterized by bearish action. It may be characterized by a lack of confidence from the investors in Bitcoin. And a large part of the reason for that is because people don't know what's going to happen with the election. Listen, like Trump, hate Trump. Like Kamala, hate Kamala. One thing that we've got to be 100% honest about is that the proposal that Kamala has made of a 25% unrealized capital gains tax on net worth over $100 million is asinine and will destroy investors in this country. First of all, because it won't stay at net worth over $100 million. It will come down. Guaranteed. If she manages to pass that, which I don't think she would manage to get that through Congress, but good God almighty, we know Congress doesn't know how to manage money. If that did get passed, you would have startups the world over having to focus on, just tax planning for the ability to pay taxes that they don't have the money to pay. Let's back up here and give you a bit of context. So in the presidential race, the reason that I bring this up is because there's a lot of fear in cryptocurrency right now. And a lot of that fear is not just on the consumer level, it's also on the institutional level. And so when an institution is looking at buying Bitcoin, they are not just looking at what Bitcoin is going to do, they're also looking at the tax implication of if they buy it. And so if you buy Bitcoin and you're worth over $100 million, you're a company or an individual that's worth over $100 million, which many of the people buying Bitcoin and driving the market are, and you hear that one of the big two presidential candidates is proposing a 25% unrealized capital gains tax bill, then what you have to ask yourself is, do I want to invest in an asset at all? Do I even want to make any investments in the market? Or do I want to just invest into jobs? Just buying a new building, or payroll, expanding payroll, something that you're not going to have unrealized capital gains taxes on. Because what happens when you have unrealized capital gains taxes is that if you, let's say an asset appreciates by $1 million, you have a $250,000 bill that you have to pay, and you don't have the cash to pay for it. So you either have to take out more debt, which you now have a debt load, or you have to sell the asset prematurely, which sparks a selling cycle, especially moving into tax season every year, and you end up having a massive bearish movement every year, and you completely stunt the growth of the United States stock market and the cryptocurrency market. And it becomes very, very difficult to drive investment, which makes it very difficult to fundraise, which makes it very difficult to find angel investors to get startups off the ground, and you overall just make things very difficult for the economy if you pass that. And so that alone, I cannot overstate enough how much fear that is bringing into the market, because, again, one of the big two presidential candidates is proposing that. I'm not getting into all of the other political stuff. I'm not trying to make this overly political. We're talking about economics here. But I would be a fool not to explain to you, first of all, how dangerous that policy is. And this is not me trying to say go vote for Trump. This is just me saying that this is something that people are concerned about here. This is not a glaring endorsement of Trump, so that's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that if people, if Kamala does get elected, this is a fear that people have, and it is going to work to suppress markets, and it's definitely not helping the case for a Bitcoin bull market right now, especially considering the fact that, generally speaking, what we see happen, and I have this up on the chart here, what we see happen is that the election, the market is generally trading sideways into the election. We've got November of 2016 and November of 2020 here. You can see the market is generally bullish, but actually it's going through a bit of a corrective movement moving into election season. Here in 2016, that was exactly what we were doing. We were moving into a correction here for many months, moving into the election. Bitcoin traded sideways for 140 days. In fact, during that time, Bitcoin dropped 40% at one point in time before the election came, and then Bitcoin took off to the races in 2017, which in this case, this point in the cycle would be roughly 2025 that we're looking at. Now, looking back here to November 8th of 2020, now this is on November the 2nd, but it's a weekly candlestick, so who cares? We were basically trading sideways for the majority of this time. And in fact, right before the election, just a couple months in September, which we're in September right now, we saw a 25% dip here. The market had a little bit of bullishness running up to into the election, which was great. But in general, the majority of the rally was coming post-election. And so that's one of the hopes that we have right now, is that the amount of consolidation that we've had here has been plenty of rest for the Bitcoin market, and we'll be able to see a rally coming around election season or a little bit further along. But of course, time will tell on that. Sentiment is not exactly what we want it to be right now. It is quite bearish, and so we really need to see a major turnaround before we can get some confidence that a big rally is coming. So let's read a little bit of chat here, and then we will keep it moving. I really appreciate all of you guys tuning in. It is my goal here to help bring value to you. That's why I do what I do. Listen, I love what I do, don't get me wrong, but I know for me, whenever I am motivated selfishly, that motivation doesn't last. That's something I've learned about myself, is when I'm motivated by something that is a selfish desire. Let's say if I was motivated by trying to get a fancy car, which I don't care about, or let's say I was motivated by fame or status, which I don't really care about. Let's say I was motivated by those things don't last. There are so many times where I've tried to be motivated by things that are selfish, because, that's what the culture teaches you. And in my young naivete, didn't know any better. So I'd try to be motivated by, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this because I want to look this way in the mirror. I'm going to do this because I want this number in my bank account. It doesn't work. The only thing that truly motivates me is helping you guys, is loving God and loving my neighbor. That's the only thing that gives me long-lasting motivation. It doesn't go away. My dream here is to help you succeed financially, because on the one hand, I have seen how much untold pain not having your finances in order will bring to a family. And I've also seen the great blessing that having your finances properly managed with a godly meekness and with a humility and with a discipline and with a diligence and with a growth mindset and with a reliability, I've seen the great blessing that can bring. And so I want that for you. I come on this stream every day not to enrich myself. I don't need that. I don't want that. I don't care about that. I come on this stream every day because I know that on the other end of this camera, there are people listening that genuinely could benefit from what I'm saying, because I have seen myself, I've seen people around me benefit from it, and I want you to be a part of that. And so my motivation is to help you. If this is what you were coming for, then make sure you hit that like button, because if you come along with us, I think you're going to be better off for being here. Oh, got some coffee on my nose. Great. That's exactly where I store my coffee. Where do you store yours? Okay, Crypto Dude's in chat. Shout out to you. Sean O'Brien's in chat. Joe Bollier's in chat. Paul Torelli. Satchet321. Gianluca Zari. That's a really cool name. Long time no sync. 0101. Hi, speaking in binary. Bjorn's in chat. Upstate Direct. Bill Branson. Green Tea. Joe Bollier. Peter P is in chat. Green Tea is in chat. Speed's in chat. Moses, Michael, and Kat, and Michael Lewis. Josh Runge, I think. I'm not sure. Runge, I think. Martine Siebels is in chat. Michael's in chat. Chico Esparza is in chat. Gift the Talking Mongoose. Good morning. And everyone else. Really appreciate all of you guys tuning in. Joe Bollier said, can we stop by McDonald's? Yes, if you want a blockage in your arteries. No, I'm just kidding. If we have a downturn in the short term, when do you expect a reversal? Great question. We can use that to lead into the next part of our story here. So let's dig a little bit deeper into the technicals here rather than just kind of the broad overview. What we are witnessing right now is a great likelihood of a corrective movement. And part of the reason for that is because of the bearish sentiment. There's the fear around the election, and I don't want to be biased here. There is fear that people have around markets if Trump gets elected. There are people out there that are terrified. What's going to happen if Trump gets elected? So they're trying to be conservative and stay in the dollar, which they've been lied to and told that the inflation is low. It's not, but they're trying to keep it safe and stay in cash. I mean, right now we've got $5.6 trillion in money market accounts generating 5%. When the interest rates come down, what do you think that's going to do? Anyway, that's a different point. But the point here is that there is a head and shoulders pattern forming. And while there is this background FUD the world over, but also here in the cryptocurrency space for various reasons, and then we've got something like a head and shoulders pattern forming that could push us lower to the downside. That gives us a cause for concern here. So we're looking at about $50,000 as a price target. I'm going to stick to my guns on $54,000 before I say $50,000 because I personally don't want to over-exaggerate the size of the corrective movement. Even though the price target is pointing down to 50, I'm more looking at 54 for now. If we drop down there and we get, we can kind of see how the drop down to 54 goes. And if it is just absolutely cataclysmic, then excuse me, if it is absolutely cataclysmic, then that's where we might be able to make more of a prediction towards $50,000. But I also want to look at a few of the other technicals here. Looking at LUX Algo on the 4-hourly chart would probably be the most helpful here. You can see that we do have a confirmed sell signal. The sell signal came in here on the 26th of August. It was confirmed on the 27th. We've been under that sell signal for quite some time now. And so we have reason to believe that we would continue into that downtrend for a time here. We are under a downtrending level of resistance right here. And so if Bitcoin is not able to break above that downtrending level of resistance, then we would just expect that the downtrend would, of course, continue here. And we've also got on the daily chart, MACD and RSI, quite a bit of bearishness. We've had a bearish MACD cross here on daily chart. If we look at the last several times that we've had a bearish MACD cross, you're going to see, I had these blue lines up earlier and I deleted them. You're going to see that, generally speaking, the bearish MACD cross has been quite accurate for Bitcoin as of late. Different indicators are more powerful depending on what market you are in, but in this market right now, what we are witnessing is that the bearish MACD cross has been very, very good with its predictions. And so I am inclined to believe that there is some validity to this bearish MACD cross, especially considering the fact that it happened below the zero level. Bitcoin never even really got off the mark before we had a bearish MACD cross come in and just kind of dump the market. Crypto Jeb Oscillator, our very own proprietary cryptocurrency oscillator, trading view oscillator, made in partnership with LUX Algo. is bearish right now. The bearish momentum has completely exasperated itself. It's done. The bearish velocity is increasing. The bears are gaining strength, and the bulls are losing strength at a rapid clip. This is essentially a confirmation of bearishness from the Crypto Jeb Oscillator, which does mean that there are bearish skies ahead. Lastly, the RSI dropped below the 14 interval moving average, which was an early preliminary warning sign of this, and we've been sitting down here between 40 and 45. Remember, RSI is not just about the crosses. It actually tells us basically who's in charge. If you're below 50, it is a bearish season. If you're above 50, it is a bullish season. So just the fact that we're below 50 gives us confidence that the bears are in charge right now. So what we are doing right now is we are betting with the bears and waiting to see if the bulls flip the script. If they do, great. But until they do, they haven't. Until the bulls flip the script, then the Bitcoin market is not bullish. It is bearish, factually. There's a lot of things in technical analysis that are opinion. This is not an opinion. It is a fact right now that on the daily chart, Bitcoin is in a downtrend. And so fact, that means you should be too. You should be expecting for bearishness to continue unless we see some major confirmation. So what would those confirmations be? First of all, Bitcoin would have to break this red downtrend on the market here. And I would say that Bitcoin would need to at least break well above $60,000 before we could have any kind of confidence of bullishness. And the reason for that is because Bitcoin needs to set some distance between where it is now before we'd be able to really seriously consider it going into a major uptrend. And that's kind of what we're seeing on the other altcoins as well. Right now, Ethereum is down considerably. It's actually dropping down into the golden pocket of its overall bull market trend. It's sitting right here, and it's dropped considerably, quite a distance here. We're sitting at $2,500, and this is disappointing because we've had the ETF launch. It was not good for the Ethereum market, mainly because it had very weak adoption. We've actually seen more outflows than inflows on a net from a net perspective. And so ever since the Ethereum ETF launch, it's been quite bearish. And so we're seeing a very depressed Ethereum market because we've been looking forward to an Ethereum ETF for the better part of a decade. It came, it has not done much. And so while there is the possibility that it's going to do a lot in the future and it would be a great bullish catalyst, at the moment, it is suppressing the price. So the near-term future for Bitcoin looks bearish. I don't want to be overly long-winded on that because I think I've made the point pretty clearly. So I also want to look at the broader context of markets. So we've looked at the broader context of the political side of things. We've talked about how the presidential election is likely to be a great stumbling block for any bullishness that would be going on right now. We've also talked about the overall cycle of how Bitcoin responds to elections in general. But I also want to talk about how the broader financial markets are impacting Bitcoin right now. But before we do that, I do want to let you know about one of today's sponsors, which is NordVPN. If you guys have not already signed up for NordVPN, you are missing out. Here's the exact reason. There are two things that Nord will do for you. First and foremost, it will keep you safe while you browse online. There are people out there that are trying to hack you. They are trying to steal from you. They are buying your information from data brokers who essentially get your information from every time you hit accept cookies or every time you put something on social media. The social media companies sell it to these data brokers. They are basically like, they got the trench coat open and they're selling, behind in the back alley, and the criminals will come and they'll sometimes buy your information from these data brokers. They literally purchase your information from websites that collect cookies and from social media platforms, and then they sell that information about you to the highest bidder. And so NordVPN is going to help protect you from those thieves that have gone and gotten your information, and they are trying to use it to steal from you, especially if you've got a higher net worth. A lot of times they know that. They know that. And so you have a bullseye on your back, so you've got to invest in security. I mean, if you got a $3 million mansion, come on. Who's the thief going to try and steal from? The poor sap living in, in the middle of nowhere with nothing to his name? Or are they going to try and steal from the big house? Especially if you've got some wealth, they're going to try and steal from you. There are hackers and thieves out there that are trying right now to come after you. NordVPN is going to help keep you safe by keeping you invisible. They are the #1 VPN company in the world. And also, they're going to keep you private. Listen, the reign of authoritarianism seems to be coming back in the world. There's a whole lot of censorship going on the internet right now, and I don't want that for you. That's not true. That's not good. It's okay to be dissident. It's okay to not agree with what the government is telling you. It's okay to be more libertarian-minded. That's an okay thing, and NordVPN can allow that by rerouting your internet traffic so that the companies don't know where you are. And so those are a couple of very good reasons to sign up for NordVPN. Sign up with the link in the description box down below. You can get a 2-year plan for under $100 using our link or by going to the link in the description box down below. So make sure to check out NordVPN. Keep yourself safe, secure, and private while you browse online. I would consider this one to be essentially an essential. So make sure you do that if you haven't already. Let's read a little bit more chat, and then we will keep it moving here. One House Productions said, thanks, Jeb. Yeehaw. Yeehaw. Absolutely. Yeehaw. Why would anyone be selling right now? You'd be surprised. You know, we were at 74K, and everybody's saying, why didn't I buy it at 57? Then 57 comes, and they say, I'm not buying that. Most people that work in the cryptocurrency space are afraid. They're not taking the following stance. The correct stance, the correct way to operate in a market is to take a long view. Remember, and this is why I said this at the beginning of the stream, because I was going to come back to it. Remember, the way that you succeed in crypto is not about a trade. It's not about an investment. It's not about something that you did one-off. It's about the habits that you build. You either do this with a long-term perspective or you fail. Let's just be brutally clear here. You either take a long-term perspective on these things or you lose money. If you're only going to take a short-sighted view on crypto, leave. Not because I don't want you here, but because you're going to hurt yourself. Leave. Take a long-term perspective or leave. You are not mature enough to be here because you are going to hurt yourself. I've got a brother-in-law, and he works on cars, right? So he'll have a car up on a lift, and he's got, you're going to think I'm joking. I'm not kidding. The guy literally has about 40 nieces and nephews. Comes from a big family. He says that he does not allow a child to be around him while he's working in a car unless that child obeys every single time. If I tell you to do something, by God, you're going to do it. And if you don't do it, you cannot be here. You know why? Because for all I know, if I can't trust you to listen to me, you could drop the car on me and you could kill me. You could drop the car on yourself. You could kill yourself. You could, hit yourself with a pipe wrench or something. Not a pipe wrench. You can hit yourself with a channel lock. I can't trust you. You're not mature enough to be here. Here's the thing. If you're not mature enough to take a long-term view on this, then you are not mature enough to be here and you should leave crypto. That being said, please learn the lesson and stay because there's a lot of value here. I want you to be here and you should want to be here. But if you are not willing to take a long-term perspective on crypto, you will hurt yourself. 100% guaranteed. I read something on X this morning that I thought was pretty funny. Imagine playing Monopoly and you go around the board. And every time you go around the board, you never buy any investment property. You never buy a property. You never buy any houses. You just go around and collect your $200, and you use that $200 to pay rent and not go to jail or to bail yourself out of jail. That's what most people do in life. You know why? Because they're thinking short-sighted. They're thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I got to hold on to my cash so tight. I got to hold on to it. I can't lose it. I'm thinking short-sighted, man. I got to make... No. You got to put yourself out there. You got to take a long-term perspective. Man, I'm going to buy this property. I'm going to buy Park Place right now. It might not make me anything for 5 circles around the board. But I'm taking a long-term perspective on it. You will fail. Worse than failing, you will bankrupt yourself if you're not careful in the cryptocurrency space or in any investment space if you do not take a long-term outlook. So the people selling right now are the people that have not taken the long-term outlook. There are some people that have some opinions that Bitcoin could drop lower and they're shorting, and I get that. And there's validity in that potentially. But a lot of the people that are selling right now are the people that have not taken a long-term outlook. They're not thinking to themselves, where's Bitcoin going to be in 5 to 7 years? They're thinking to themselves, where's Bitcoin going to be in 5 to 7 minutes? Or 5 to 7 days? Or 5 to 7 weeks? If you want to succeed in investment, you need to lock up your money for at least 5 years. Or it's not really an investment. It's more of a trade. And the shorter the time frame you get down to, the more you are gambling and the more you've got to have a lot of skill to succeed. Unless you're a professional trader, and by professional trader, I mean you've made 1,000 trades in the last 3-4 months and you've actually made consistent money in the last 1,000 trades. If that's not you, then consider yourself an investor, and that's fine. You make a lot of money doing that. Warren Buffett made 20 times as much money as the CEO of Coca-Cola. He's an investor. CEOs make it. The investor makes a lot more money than even the founder of the company a lot of times. And the founder of the company makes a lot of money because they are an investor, but then the CEO or the executive team. Be an investor, that's great. But if you don't take a long-term outlook, don't even bother. You will hurt yourself. And so when we talk about the short term, it is helpful in the sense of not, oh crap, we should sell everything, in the sense of let us prepare ourselves that a drop down to 54K may come. And then at that point, all right, we might buy some more because we're taking a long-term outlook. Where do you think Bitcoin will be in 5 to 7 years? I'm serious. Type it in chat. We got 248 people watching. All 248 of you. Pull out your phone. Type a number. 100K. 150K. 250K. Tell me in chat. Where do you think in 5 years Bitcoin will be? What price do you think Bitcoin will be trading at? I'm going to guess $250,000. I'm going to guess in 2029, Bitcoin will be trading at $250,000. I think it might be worth a lot more than that, but I'm going to guess $250,000. I do hope it'll be worth more than that. If that's the case, that is a 5x from where we are right now. But in the short term, let's say it really hit the fan and Bitcoin went into like a middle of the bull market, bear market here. Bitcoin could drop 40 or 50%. Even if it's going to 5x, it could drop considerably. If I want to beat this market, let me just draw something here. If I want to beat such and such market, let's say I want to beat this market right here, right? And I look at the short term, I'm selling. If my perspective only allows me to see to this far out, like if my perspective only allows me to see this, if that's all my perspective sees, then I'm going to sell. And you should. If that's all you see, then yeah, sell. But if your perspective sees this, now what do? You're buying the whole way down because where we're going is higher than any of these entries. So you don't really care what the entry is. If you don't take the long-term perspective, you might as well leave. You might as well quit. Let's say we only get to 100K. That's a double. Let's say we do drop down to 30K. If you genuinely believe Bitcoin's going to 90, 100, 120K, that's a 2-3x return. That's a great return in just a few years. And if you're like me, you're probably not going to hold it for a few years. You're going to hold it for many years. Guys, I bought Bitcoin down here. I bought Bitcoin and Ethereum right here. Right? When you look at the short term, does that seem like a good idea? No. I had people at each one of these bottoms apologizing to me, taking pity on me. I remember, I'm not going to say his name, but I remember a friend of mine in high school. I was in college at the time. I did my one semester of college before I dropped out to start my business. Actually, I'd already started my business, but dropped out to do my business full time. Did my one semester of college before I dropped out. He said, "Man, I'm so sorry." And I was like, "What are you saying you're so sorry for? What do you mean you're so sorry? What happened? Are you okay?" I thought something happened with him. He was just trying to be nice. Like, "Man, I'm so sorry." I said, "For what?" He said, "Man, I know that your income's kind of tied to crypto." I was like, "You have no idea, do you?" And he said, "What?" "You have no idea, do you? It's the bottom. The bottom's in. The bottom's in. It's going to be worth so much more in the future. $3,400 Bitcoin. Ha!" He just was like, "Okay, all right, fine." But I'm thinking to myself, in his head, he's probably thinking, "Yeah, right, Jeb." I don't know if that's what he thought, but that's probably what he was thinking. That was here. Now we're here. I was acquiring Bitcoin at $3,400. It's up 16x. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen again in the next 5 years, but in the next 15 years, it very well may. And so if you want to repeat what I've done, then do what I did, which is buy and hold for years, not months, years. Swallow the expense. Think about investment like this. In the short term, it's not an investment. It's just an expense. It's like you took you've got to swallow this to succeed with investment. It's like you took let's say you invested $10,000. In the short term, you don't need to worry about what the market does because in the short term, you basically just took the money out in the backyard and lit it on fire. That's basically what you did. Because if you made an investment, you're swallowing the fact that you're not going to see that money again for a long time. When you put money in a retirement account, you're swallowing the fact you might not see that money again for 40 years. You know it's there. But in the short term, it's an expense. It's not like you went and bought a latte with it and you spent $17 and you got a latte, right? It's not like you spent $2,000 and, oh my gosh, I had a place to live this month. That's the point. In the short term, it feels like you set the money on fire. And so when we're all caught up and worried about where's the market going in the short term? Oh my gosh, I'm so anxious. We're not doing ourselves a favor because, and here's the point. I'm trying to make this concise. Here's the point. If you're all caught up and worried about where the market goes in the short term, then you have not accepted the fact that an investment is like lighting your money on fire in the short term. You're worried about whether your money is going to go down 10% in the short term. My friend, when you made the investment, it went down 100% in the short term because you don't have access to it anymore because you locked it up. Why are you worried about going down 10%? As far as you're concerned, it went down 100%. You don't have it at all anymore. If you actually put it away for 5 years, then you accepted for the next 5 years, this money don't exist. Unless somebody's dying, this money is not real anymore. It's numbers in a computer. Whatever it is. That's Bitcoin, real estate, stock market, gold, whatever. And so you've got to take that outlook. And so when we talk about Bitcoin going to the downside, I ask myself this question sometimes. Why do we even talk about Bitcoin dropping? The reason I talk about Bitcoin dropping is not because I'm worried about the market dropping. It's because I see an opportunity. I see an opportunity that if the market drops, then we've got a lower entry. And I see an opportunity to share with you guys, if the market drops, that's where we can say, if we still believe in this market, which I do, then that's where we could buy more. Again, do that with a market that you believe in. But I do believe in the Bitcoin market, and a lot of people that are very powerful also believe in the market, which is helpful. Some masses of people, hundreds of millions of people believe in the market, which is also powerful, right? Some masses believe in it, and some very powerful key players believe in it. And overall history believes in it. It's the hardest asset in the game. And so when we think long-term, it eliminates this short-term thinking. If you're not going to think long-term, then don't invest at all because you will simply hurt yourself. You will be so cast about to and fro that you will end up selling at a loss every time. If you're not willing to think about it long-term, don't make an investment at all. If you realize that you need to grow in that, but you're not there yet, then stay and continue to learn and maybe start small. Maybe start with $5. It's okay. Nobody's going to judge you if you invested $1 in Bitcoin. Will it change your life? No. Could it set you on the path to building a habit that could eventually grow into something that is life-changing? Absolutely. Absolutely it could. So as we come to a close here, the biggest point I have to make for you is that you have to take a long-term perspective on things. You must, or you fail. I really want to make that dichotomy as clear as I possibly can. You've got to take a long-term perspective on it. Guys, there are times I do the stream and I'm not feeling it. It's not that I don't want to be here. It's that I just feel like, man, that sucked. Like my delivery was awful. I'm tired. I didn't go to the gym. I didn't work out. I'm just brain fog. I missed my coffee. Oh my goodness. There's all kinds of stuff that goes on when you're behind this camera. I'm like, oh my goodness. I get distracted. The other day, just last week, I started the stream. Literally like the second the intro finished, I got a text from my wife, which I love it when she texts me, but I'm like, oh my gosh, is she okay? I'm about to say the intro. And I'm like, wait, she never texts me unless there's something wrong. What's wrong? And so I'm like trying to figure out, is she okay while doing the stream at the same time? Sometimes things go wrong. What's important is that I showed up. What's important is that I'm here. Lifer, Crypto Lifer, big shout out to Sam Price. That dude has done a stream every day for like 4.5 years now. Every stream wasn't perfect, man. I remember when he was starting. I knew him from the beginning. He would get like 10 views for a long time. Now he's got way more viewership than we do. You know what I mean? But he showed up, and he stuck with it, and he was consistent. And he did a stream 7 days a week and has not missed a day, as far as I know, in like 1,500 days. So show up, and think long-term, and make an investment, and hodl. And also, strive to be sovereign over your wealth. Strive to make sure that you plug all the leaks. Where's all your money going? Why is it the end of the month and you have no cash? Why are you broke? Why? Why do you have no money? What happened? Oh, 17 unexpected expenses came up. Okay, fine. Next month. 14 unexpected expenses came up. Okay, next month. 27 unexpected expenses came up. Okay, what's going on? Why do you have so many unexpected expenses? Why aren't you realizing that, every 6 months you pay your car insurance premium? Why aren't you realizing that, hey, every year this person wants to go and do this thing with me? Why aren't you realizing where your money's going? Because you haven't sat down, you haven't looked at it, you haven't gotten control of it, you haven't planned for it. In our budget, we've got like 12 different funds every month. We're not spending out of those funds every month, but we're saving. Christmas happens once a year. My golly, it hadn't moved in 2,000 years. It's the same day every year. But every year, people are like, oh my gosh, why do I have no money for Christmas? Because you didn't save for it. We save what, $125, something like that. We save like $125 a month every month for Christmas. We spend that once a year. We don't spend that in January or February or March. But the money's there because we knew it was coming. Birthdays. We set aside money for birthdays every year. I just had a birthday. So the money was there because we budgeted for it. We didn't have to wonder, oh crap, now we got a $200 unexpected expense. We wanted to do this thing for Jeb. No, we budgeted for it. We had saving. We saved for it. Get control over your money. You not being in control of your money is driving so much anxiety in your life. You have no idea how much anxiety is driving in you. You have no idea how much peace it is ripping away from you because you are not in control of it and because you have not set it on a collision course with growth. So figure out what habit it is that you need to build in your life. Maybe it's budgeting. Figure out a habit that is this important. Come hell or high water, I am doing this. You can kill me, but I'm not stopping. With budgeting, I am that way. I have seen the hell that it brings into my life when I am not in control of my money. Come hell or high water, put a gun to my head, I'm not stopping. I'm running a budget, period. We spent half of this month in the hospital and I'm managing our budget. I have been trying to make sure that my wife is okay and not having a stroke, not having a seizure, not having HELLP syndrome, trying to make sure that she's not going into hemorrhagic shock. I've been trying to do all this stuff, and I've done all that stuff, and I still found time for that because it's also important. It's not more important than her, and if it really did come down to one or the other, I'm choosing her. But as much as I'm able, if it costs me sleep, it costs me sleep. I'm going to do it. So find a habit, whether it's buying Bitcoin every week, or budgeting, or going on a run every day, or reading your Bible every day, that you say to yourself, I will sooner die than stop. Find a habit that's that important, and then teach yourself to trust yourself. Make a commitment to yourself and show yourself that you're trustworthy. Do that with money long enough, and you will be wealthy. There was a book the Decamillionaire. I think it was a Decamillionaire Next Door. The Millionaire Next Door. That guy, what's his name? I forgot his name. Not Tim Keller. Thomas Stanley wrote a book. He wrote The Millionaire Next Door. He wrote another book about decamillionaires. And what he found is that the people that are worth $10 million and more, he listed out in his book the character traits that they shared. The number one character trait, before I say it, I'm going to give like 10 seconds for you guys to guess in chat. The number one character trait of decamillionaires, he stated, and it was something like 90% of them, that this is something that they self-identified and other people around them identified that this is a character trait that they hold. What do you think was the number one most common character trait of somebody worth $10 million or more? Generally speaking, to build a $10 million net worth, you need to be someone in business. You can do it with a 9-to-5, but it's going to take a while. Generally, these are business owners at this point. They've got real estate portfolios. They've got a business. They've got employees. They are leveraging not only their own time but other people's time because they have staff under them. These are highly successful people, not just in their business but also in their family. They are highly successful in their family life as well. What do you think is the number one most common character trait? I'm going to say this and we're going to wrap it out because this is where I want to kind of encourage you guys. What do you think is the number one most important character trait? Come on, we've got one person that said it. We've got two people that have given an answer. Let's see. What do you guys think? Take a guess. Give it another few seconds. Good answers. All these. Lucky. Yeah, they probably did have a good bit of luck. Consistency, live cheap, no brands. Yep, all those things are true. And a lot of those things showed up in the study. I mean, there were a bunch of things that they all shared. A lot of them were cheapskates, right? They were cheapskates for the first $5-10 million. That's true. They were dirt cheap or frugal. The number one most consistent character trait was integrity. The number one most common character trait was integrity. What does integrity mean? It's the quality of being honest or having strong moral principles, moral uprightness. A big part of the reason that integrity got them there was not just because they had better relationships for it. It was because when they said that they were going to do something, you could take it to the bank and you could cash it like a check because they were reliable. If they said, I'm going to be at this meeting at 9 o'clock, I'm at that meeting at 9 o'clock. If they said, we are going to have this presentation on your desk by Tuesday at 2 p.m., it was on the desk by Tuesday at 2 p.m., and it was quality. They were reliable, and they had integrity, and their word meant something. In the words of the Bible, he who makes a commitment and keeps it even to his own hurt is how the Bible describes this concept. They were reliable. They trusted themselves to follow through on what they said they were going to do, and on the outside, their words and their actions matched. That was the single most common character trait among decamillionaires. It was something like 93% of them. That was like a top 3 most important character trait that they self-identified and that other people identified with them. So have integrity. If you say you're going to do something, do it. So be careful about what you say you're going to do, and be hell-bent on doing what you said you were going to do. And when you're that consistent with your investments and with your money management, wealth generation will naturally follow. I hope you have enjoyed today's stream. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And also make sure to check out the cryptocurrency exchange, and I'll have a link for you guys tomorrow. Make sure to check out the cryptocurrency exchange Uphold. Guys, we are very, very excited to be brought to you now. Also by Uphold, not just by Vault, but also by Uphold the exchange. It is an incredible cryptocurrency exchange that you're going to be hearing a lot about over the next few weeks and months, and I am very excited that they have chosen to sponsor the channel because Uphold is an incredible exchange. We're going to talk about it. It's got a great user interface. They've got great products. Vault, as you guys have heard about, is remarkable. It ties into the app. Uphold has a very, very quality user interface on the app. And like I said, I'm going to be showing you more about Uphold. I'll show you the back end. I'll show you the interface. I'll show you all that as the days go on here. But for now, I want you guys to know we are now sponsored by Uphold the exchange. Very excited by that because, again, they are just a great exchange. I've gotten to know the team over the last few years, and we are very excited to have them on. So make sure to check them out. As I said, we'll have some more kind of eye candy up on the screen, and we'll have some more links and stuff in the description for you over the coming days. Make sure, if you haven't already, though, just go to uphold.com. You can check them out over here, and they are one of the rising, most successful cryptocurrency exchanges in the game, and they've got a lot of markets on here, so whatever you want to trade, it is probably here. You see it just goes and goes and goes and goes. So make sure you check out Uphold with the link in the description box down below. I hope you have all enjoyed today's stream. If you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the post notification bell, stay tuned, because we got more content coming. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.